Welcome back to the Shipyard. Today, not about me at all. If you watch my top 100 board games, you know that this guy promised to make a list. Well, a couple months later, I don't know what you were doing with your life. You know, there's nothing more important than making lists and,
I know, right?
And recording videos.
I was reviewing your video footage and trying to think back of things I could have made fun of more.
Okay, and figuring out what not to do.
Exactly.
Okay, as long as you learn something.
Making sure not to include half of your games on my list, just because I'm like that, you know. I don't want to follow suit.
You gotta hate.
Yeah.
Haters gotta hate. Well, Cory has his top 100 board games, and I'm here to, well, mock them, agree with them. Well, you know my list, but the games that don't line up, we'll see.
See what happens, guys. Well, again, I'm Cory. I was here watching watching Dave's top 100 as far as kind of giving him some pointers on things, what not to do, what to do, some bad picks, I guess you could say. So that's his turn today. So we'll start with number 100. My number 100 for my top 100 games of all time, 2017 edition, is World Championship Russian Roulette. Nice little game there. It's a nice little party game. I'm heavy Kickstarter. I deal with Kickstarter quite often. Not sure if we could say that.
You can.
But you could ask Dave here how much I'm involved in Kickstarter, and that was one of the games I backed. Really enjoy it. It's got a nice little bluffing mechanism in there, and it's pretty simple rules, which is what I like about it. So that's top 100. Number 100 just made the list. World Championship Russian Roulette.
It's a decent party game.
It's good.
I grant you that. Yeah.
Number 99, which is surprising. This is actually a game of Dave's that introduced this to me. I will let you take a guess on this. It is actually a game that I believe we played twice, maybe once. We played this over at the house that that you own. You should
Article
still
27?
No. Now this is a deduction. This is a deduction type game.
Who?
On a train.
Oh, Mystery Express?
Mystery Express.
Wow.
Great deduction game. There are some other deduction games on here, obviously, that we'll get to that I like a lot more. I believe it beat out Mystery at the Abbey. I really like it, and I have been itching to play it. I know it takes a little bit more people, but that's a good deduction game. Number 99, Mystery Express. Number 98. This is stemming out of a very, very, very popular party game. It's a different type of edition, different mechanics, but same base, I guess, mechanics. Typically, this is a large party game, but this edition is a small portion of a party. Deduction again.
Dixon?
No.
One Night Werewolf?
So, you're on the right track. Different edition.
Oh, the Inquisition?
Inquisition. Ultimate Werewolf Inquisition. Great set of Ultimate Werewolf. It has a little bit of changes as far as the way that you pick your cards, your abilities, your roles. Players don't control the abilities or the roles. They really get to select the roles. The werewolf is really just kind of trying to hide within the midst of the village, which is the same idea as far as an Ultimate Werewolf, but this deals with a little bit of worker placement in addition to that. So, number 98, Ultimate Werewolf Inquisition. Number 97, this is a dexterity game. I am a huge dexterity game fan, and the more I get involved with the Shipyard and David, you may start to see this.
I hope so.
It deals with cooking, of all things. This is a la carte.
Yeah.
Great game.
It's fun.
This was one of my first 200 games that I bought. Not 200, first 20 games that I bought. It deals with basically creating recipes, dumping seasoning into your pan, trying to get the correct amount of seasoning just off of a tip of a salt shaker per se, and trying to be the first one to collect so many points. Really good dexterity type game, I guess you could say, with a little bit of management of which recipes you pick. But I really like that game. It's kind of got a soft spot because it was one of my first dexterity games I started to get involved with. That is 97 a la carte. 96, I believe you have only played this once. It is based on an IP, a video game IP. And it's not XCOM, no.
Oh, the Portal?
The Portal game. The game, the uncooperative cake acquisition game. Scrolling board. I like it because of the scrolling board. Again, this is a type of game that I don't have in my collection, and you'll start to notice this more and more, that I try and get different types of games to kind of round out my collection. Yeah. I believe I am set at this point as far as every type of genre for the most part.
Until they invent a new one. Until
they invent a new one, correct. I know I have some ideas for new ones, but you guys will probably start hearing about that throughout. So Portal, the uncooperative cake acquisition game. Decent. I mean, it is number 96. I do play a lot of games. And the top 200, obviously, that's going to bring in a lot more. But 96, Portal uncooperative cake acquisition game. I really like the sliding board mechanic as well as the take that in that game there. So again, that's number 96, Portal. Number 95, another great party type game. This is an extension, which I think is altogether better than the original. Original was a card game. This is a dice game. I'm sure that probably most people are familiar with. Bang the Dice Game. And Bang the Dice Game comes in at number 95. Another, I guess, Take That. Bang the Dice deals with a lot more Take That. Don't really have hidden abilities in that. It's really kind of just deduction as far as who is the two types of, I think it's outlaws and Indians, right?
Deputies.
Deputies, yeah. So really, I've never really felt the deduction in it, but I do like the simplicity of it in comparison to Bang. Bang, there's a lot more deduction. I think Werewolf, there's a lot more deduction involved.
Yeah.
But I really like the simplicity of this specific deduction game.
I'm surprised that that's as low as it is, but you gave a decent reasoning for it.
It's, again, I think it's because there's other deduction games I like more on the list. Again, I tried, while I was ranking this list, I did try to, I guess, include some of the classics in there. That was in the back of my mind when I was doing it. Some of the classics that I really like that have now kind of been released. They're starting to be released to the widespread, as far as like Barnes & Noble's been great at that, and Target's been great at that, promoting those games that would otherwise go unheard of. But yeah, Bang the Dice Game, that is number 95. Number 94 used to be the highest garnering Kickstarter of all time prior to another IP taking over. Very simple card game. Really deals with Take That and kind of push your luck, I guess, per se. Deals with bombs and felines.
Just get out.
Exploding Kittens.
Get out.
94 Exploding Kittens.
You've now invalidated every game that's below it.
I don't know about that.
No, that game is trash.
I don't know about that. It is... Exploding Kittens is a game that you could teach, with exception to the ones below it, the, six below it. That is a game that you could teach pretty much anyone. I ranked it as low as I did just because I do agree with you. I'm not a huge Exploding Kittens fan, just because it is almost too simple. But I like it that high because of the ease of teaching it.
I can teach high card to anyone too. But that doesn't mean there's a
The
game there.
the push your luck side of it. It's kind of like, to me, it's kind of like one of those Uno. It kind of falls in the same line as Uno.
But Uno's a terrible game.
It is. It is. I think, actually, I think Skip-Bo's better than Uno. I think, obviously, it falls in the top 100 for a reason. It falls in my top 100 for the reason of simplicity, 1. 2, I like the push your luck side of things, which is another mechanic that I really like in games. So that's my number 94, Exploding Kittens. Number 93. This comes out probably once a year, but I really like it for the sake of knowing the people that you're playing with. Deals with knowing your fellow players. Gets played maybe once a year. We're getting close to that time of year, probably in the next 2 months. I know you have a version of this that has a different title, but deals with something personal that happens once a year. Now this happens for everyone once a year, unless you don't celebrate this. Gift Trap. Number 93, Gift Trap.
That's where you were going with that. I had something completely
You have Crappy Birthday, right? I think it's called?
I do.
Yes.
I do have that.
So
I don't
Gift
rank
Trap,
it, but...
yes. So Gift Trap I really like. It's brought some really good times around the table with Christmas time, with family. I play that a lot with my family. My family really, I enjoy the conversations and the dialogue that happens during that game as far as, oh, you would have given me that, why didn't you give me this? I've also played this with coworkers of mine, kind of during like Secret Santa parties that we've done, or work buffets, not buffets, potlucks that we've done during that time period. And we've had some really great dialogue during those time periods. So that has a soft spot in my heart just because of the dialogue and the types of conversations that come out of it. That is number 93, Gift Trap.
The social lubricant game.
Yes.
Okay.
Very, very high social lubricant.
Oh yeah. Everybody has one of those.
Yes.
And that's a good one to have.
Number 92, Scoville. Number 92 is Scoville. This is a interesting choice for me because it's not a game I would typically do well at, and there's going to be a few more of them up there. But Scoville is I guess you could say, what would it be, like a route, kind of route management / auction type game. I mean, you're planting peppers within a field, and you're trying to sell those peppers to the market based on cards that are laid out. I just got the expansion probably about a month ago, probably 2 months ago, Scoville Labs. I have yet to play that yet. I know it has opportunity to kind of break the game wide open as far as opportunities go, and allows you to kind of manipulate what you're able to get in a better way. I know that we ran into some issues playing it as far as getting blocked in certain areas and getting frustrated with that. But it is a good game, I think. A lot of the way I find games is just looking at reviews and other people playing gameplay videos. I was interested in it. Once I got to play it, I was pleasantly satisfied. It wasn't something that I was disappointed of, or I liked a lot more than I thought I would. But Scoville, very great game. Number 92, that is Scoville.
It's a solid game.
Number 91 deals with pandas and planting or eating bamboo, as well as planting bamboo. Takenoko. Number 91 is Takenoko. Played the Chibi's expansion. I think that is a great addition to the game. I don't think you need it, per se, to have fun with the game. But Takenoko, I think, by itself is great. I think Chibi's makes it even better. It's not necessary, but the gameplay in that is pretty solid. Rolling dice, moving the panda, moving the farmer, depending on what you want. Chibi's opens it up to having babies, or I think there's a female panda in there as well. And tile placement breaks into there. One of the first extended types of games that I played growing up was another tile placement game that's going to be coming up earlier in the list, I guess you could say. So I like that aspect of things. And again, it's another one of those types of simple games that have a lot of strategy kind of hidden behind it, which You could teach new players. Takes a while to get that strategy, but I think it's a good introductory game or gateway game. And it's getting there, and it's getting more available to the public. I know I've seen it at Target at times and stuff, but again, that is good game. Number 91, Takenoko.
Okay.
Number 90. This game, we played the smack out of for a long period of time. It was actually a game that was probably played out there for a while, but I still enjoy it for the accessibility to new players. It is a deduction game where everyone knows the answer except for one person, and that person is having to pretend that they know the answer based on questions that are asked or questions they ask. Those other players are trying to figure out who that is. This game is number 90, Spyfall. Spyfall fell a lot lower than I thought it would. I thought it would be a little higher on the list as far as closer to 1. I was thinking probably 50s. But Spyfall is a really good game. I think because we haven't played it we haven't played it recently. I think because we played it so often, and that's why I got burnt out on it for a while, is why it's so low. The expansions, obviously, I think they just released the second expansion. That may open it up with the new areas to go to and stuff. That may open it up a little bit.
It might.
But it's a good game. I like the hidden question mechanic. I like the trying to be very discreet. I call it the game of inside jokes, where everyone knows the inside joke except for one person. And that other person that doesn't know is just trying to laugh along because they feel included, and everyone's like, wait, you don't know the joke, why are you laughing? That's kind of how I compare this game when I'm talking to people. Another reason why it fell so low is I think newer players have a hard time being discreet about their questions or knowing how to ask certain questions. So at times with a lot of newer players or players that don't game very often, they ask very specific questions, and it kind of breaks the game at that point apart. So that's, I think, another reason why it fell so low, but I've had great experiences with it. So that's number 90, Spyfall. Number 89, game we played fairly recently. It has a strong connection to the shipyard as far as the IP of it. A dice placement game. Dave would probably like this suggestion, so I'm going to let you say what you think it is.
Star Trek 5-Year Mission.
Star Trek 5-Year Mission.
I'm amazed it went up to the 80s.
It could be recency effect. It could be a recency effect. However, again, dice placement is another mechanic that you won't see very much on my top 100.
There's not a lot of it.
Exactly.
There's like 3 good games that do it.
There may or may not be one on the list. I'd have to check. Higher. I know I own another one. Favor of the Pharaoh, I think. I don't know if it fell on top 100. I'll have to double check. But that's another dice placement type game. It has a lot of different mechanics. Yeah. I like the whole cooperative nature of 5-Year Mission.
Yeah.
It is pretty challenging as far as figuring out what missions how to prioritize, what missions to use. I like how you can kind of help other players outside a turn. I watched a couple gameplay videos of it. Once I finally got to play it, I was again impressed, and it met my expectations. So again, that is number 89, Star Trek 5-Year Mission. Number 88. A drafting game. Not necessarily a popular drafting game, one that kind of falls by the wayside, but I think I like how they employ the drafting. Deals with knights, deals with training for being a knight. Medieval Academy. Number 88, Medieval Academy. I do not know if you played this with us. I think you sat off to the side.
I think I watched it.
Correct.
It looked okay.
And I think you took over at for the last turn because someone left. I played this quite a bit. When I got it, I played the snot out of it there for a while. I like the drafting aspect of, as well as the visual nature. It makes it easier for me to see everything that, have the game board and see where all those cards are going, as opposed to like Seven Wonders where you can forget about technology, or you can forget about military, you can forget about science. Whereas in this, you can kind of see how there's a balancing act there. I like that, the way that they deal with the drafting. It's kind of drafting with additional stuff, like I said, balancing and kind of figuring out how you're going to do it in a visual nature, as opposed to kind of having to pay attention to everyone else. So again, that's number 88, Medieval Academy. Number 87, tile placement game. It is Carcassonne times 8, I guess you could say. The name of the game is number 87, Isle of the Sky, from Chieftain to King. Now, this is a tile placement game that I struggle with just because of the depth of it. But I like the hidden auctions. I know auctioning for, or bidding for the tiles that you're going to get. I like it's basically Carcassonne on steroids, the way I look at it.
Sure.
I've had some good experiences with it. I've had some bad ones where, like my very first time I played it, I got smashed on. But I admire it for its intricacies and its strategy.
Yeah.
That is number 87, Isle of the Sky, from Chieftain to King. Number 86 deals with an IP. I'm surprised it flew up this high. Deals with an IP, and it was a game that was created for that IP. That was played in that video game. It's a card game. That game is Gwent. Very, very hard to find a copy of this. Primarily, I was basing a lot of this on my experiences in the video game and being able to build the deck based on the decks I had in the video game of The Witcher is the video game. Being able to build my deck to replicate that and then see how it would go against other players. I'm not really a Magic player. I'm not really like a Pokemon player or anything like that. However, Gwent was something I did well at with the video game, and I let Dave step in one time and try it out. He seemed to like it.
It's a good deck.
But I've had some good times, and I've enjoyed being able to see them create that game for a video game and then actually bring it to the real world and play it against other players and see how it goes. I was luckily able to secure a copy from someone who got it on Amazon, and myself and him, we've gone to blows, not literally, but figuratively, as far as
in-game combat.
Yes, with a lot of good matches against each other, and I've enjoyed introducing other people to it as well.
It's not the most complex game. There's not a ton of depth of strategy. Some might even say there's not a ton of replayability.
Exactly.
But there's something there.
The replayability is in taking your deck and just changing it, just like any other collectible card game. Changing it and seeing how you can change up your strategy based on what you've built. And
playing against other people.
Correct. So that is number 86, Gwent. Number 85. Board game adaptation of a very popular card game that you own, that I have thought about trying to get access to. Basically, the rules are ever changing in this card game, as well as the board is ever changing in this board game.
Really?
That is
FLUXX.
Number 85, FLUXX the board game.
That's that high.
85, FLUXX the board game.
Interesting.
And I don't believe that FLUXX, the card game, even made the 100. I like the board game a lot more than the card game.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I think it's more of a game. FLUXX is more of like a
way to pass time.
Correct. The board game is more of a game.
The card game is unique when you put the themes on it.
Yes.
Like, that's where it gets fun just to mess around. But yeah, the board game's actually a strategic challenge. And
Puzzles are another type of thing that I like, and this can have a type of puzzle, I guess you can say.
Yeah, well, how do you get from point A to point B in a limited amount of actions? When you have so many different things you can do.
Correct. And so, you'll see that puzzles are another popular theme in my games. Cooperatives are another popular theme in my games. Dice games as well as push your luck. A lot of the Europeans I'm not very good at, or I don't tend to like. A lot of the draftings that aren't cooperative I don't tend to like, because again those are all high learning curves as opposed to lower learning curves. But again, that is number 85. Pretty good board game adaptation of a card game. FLUXX the board game. Number 84. Cooldown mechanic, unique cooldown mechanic. This game is Grifters. Grifters I've had some good experiences with.
Yeah.
I know David likes that game. I'm not sure, did that fall in your top 100? I feel like it may have.
It either did or it missed it just on time.
Yeah, I feel like it did. Grifters is a really good, it's fairly new. I know it's, I want to say within the last 2 years. The cooldown mechanic in that game is nice. As far as you play a card, you can't use that card, or you play cards, you can't use those cards for 3 more turns or 2 more turns. And basically with that you have to kind of be strategic about what cards you play at what times in order to meet certain goals that are out public to the rest of the group, and be the first one to get the higher scoring goals. Those goals do decrease each time they get accomplished, as far as the reward for them. So there's a nice little balance between those two. I love the artwork. The whole like coup and resistance type artwork. Pretty good, solid game. That is number 84, Grifters.
Yeah, it was on my list. I had it a lot higher than you did.
How high was it?
49.
49 Grifters, 84 Grifters for myself. Okay. I mean, they're both there. We played a lot of games, so that does mean something for it.
Good challenge.
83. Adaptation of another game that you own. It is a extension of that game, kind of re-adaptation of that game with a different theme. America is the game. It's kind of a retheming of fauna. America, I really like that just because, I mean, obviously we live in America, so we got to be proud of where we live, or I'm proud of where I live. I like the history behind it, the pop culture that's involved in there. It's a lot more graspable theme in comparison to like animals, like fauna is. So that's really kind of something that's stuck there. I really like the strategy and like what you choose. Basically, it asks you a question, and you can either choose the amount answer of that question, the location of America that question pertains to, or the year that question pertains to. You could do all three. You could do a few. You're trying to get as close to as possible. You get points for adjacency or for being exact. And you also have that balance of which one am I sure of, so that I can take that away from everyone else, because only one person can guess each date or amount or place. And then at that point, if that's the area that you know and someone's already taken it, now you have to go for adjacency. So
or for something else.
Correct.
But that's up to you.
So that's a nice little pop culture, pop quiz type game that anyone can really play. You don't have to be an expert at history to know. That is number 83, America. Number 82, very nice dexterity game. We wore our hands out in this game in our 24-hour marathon. Get carpal tunnel playing this thing. Deals with flicking discs with a little rubber band type rope. Fast Track. Fast Track is my number 80. Is that 82? Number 82, Fast Track. Really like that game. It's done a lot of damage to my hands just playing it. I know we played it at probably hour 20, 19 of our marathon.
We played it like 5 in the morning.
Yeah, it was bad. It was a good way to wake us up. I know I was woke up after that.
Yeah.
And I think that may have a little bit to do with it as far as the experiences I've had playing it. You play this with kids. You can play this with adults. You
Anybody.
can play this with pretty much anyone, which is another reason why I like it. Just because of the simple rules and the speed element in it. Basically, you want to be the first person to get all your discs to the other side while they're catapulting their discs back. You're continuing to do this until someone gets all the discs on the other person's side.
Yeah.
Very nice game. Like it a lot. That is number 82, Fast Track. Number 81, app-driven game, Potions, Alchemists. Number 81 is Alchemists. This is a worker placement. Typically, I am not good at worker placement. This also is a deduction game. Typically, I'm okay at deduction games. Kind of in the same vein of Mystery at the Abbey, kind of in the same vein of other, there was one at the top of my head that I can't think of. Scotland Yard or where you're trying to figure out who's who. Alchemists, I mean, you're trying to figure out combinations that make certain potions. You do worker placement to kind of gain more knowledge or gain more actions or gain more money to get better things to help you in that endeavor, finding out these things. I really like the app development for this. I really like the tie-in that they did. They did a really good job with it. Alchemist, I know I've played it about three or four times, and I still, to this day, get the itch to want to play it. The only downside to it is the time. It's a longer game.
Yeah.
And it is kind of complex for newer players, or it can be complex for newer players. So that did kind of bring it down the list, but I really do enjoy it, and I've had some good experiences the few times I've played it. That is Alchemist, number 81.
Yeah.